All right, as we get started, I'll send this out to you even if you're not going to go. There were 21 companies that had expressed interest in IWT people, and that's them right here. So I will send you the email that I got. There is a total of 368, was it? Yeah, 368 companies coming total. And like I said, so whatever that would turn out to be, 5-10%, whatever. And a lot of them, when you start looking through here, they'll say all programs. So the only reason I'm saying that is whether you go now or whether you go in spring or whether you go both times, you might want to walk all the way through, because a lot of times there are companies that are looking, they just don't advertise for IWT or AWD or whatever. All right. That's first thing. The next thing, guess what? She was in this morning, and I think we're going to be able to cut her site over fairly quickly, hopefully. She wanted a bunch of stuff changed, but still, that was okay. All right, with what we were working on yesterday, I think I still have this all up and running. That's okay if I got errors. That's not, I'm not worried about it. All right, I went back in, and yes, Mr. Breeding was correct when he had mentioned something, but I just wanted to show this to people because we're going to make literally just a couple changes, and ideally at least, when we make those couple changes, our site is going to change. What was it, 8888, I think? All right, so now it's got my blogs, and only my blogs. And if I click on one, it brings that one up. All right, that's what we wanted to get to yesterday, but there were, for a few reasons, we didn't get that far. Now, a couple things about what we did, and what's still on here, okay? We're going to talk about this more later, but I'm asking you, and this is something you have to figure out. Do you really need an about page? It's a blog. Does a blog really need an about page? That's something you're going to have to figure out. But I'm going to take it off of the one that I'm working on. Not right now, but in a little bit. All right? Which means I've got to remove it in two places, right? I've got to remove it from server.js, where I'm doing the route for the blog. And I'm going to remove it in my navbar.js, where I've actually got the link there. Same thing with a contact form. Now, you might decide, well, yeah, I see about the about page, but no, the contact form, I want that in there. Sample post. Do you need a sample post? It looks like mine's not even working right now. But I don't know. So I'm going to remove the about, and I'm going to remove the contact, because I'm going to be adding login. I'm going to be adding a few other things as we go on. Okay? So I'm not going to do that now, but I will be doing that later. So let's get on to what has to change in here. Wish I had written it down, but hopefully I can do it fairly well off the top of my head. Let's see. All right. So one thing, if you would please, go out to post.ejs, the post one. All right? I think when I'd shown you these yesterday, we had blog posts and not post. You want it pluralized when we are working in the index.ejs file, but not in the post one. So this should be just singular post right here, and also up here, all of these should be post. All right, I'll put that up there so you can see that. So this is under the header part, so it should be post.title, post.body, post.username, etc. And you want the equal sign there. I'm not going to go into this right now. If you go and look at the EJS page, and I don't remember where that is, it's like at ejs.co or something, they explain all this stuff in much more depth and breadth of coverage than I could do. But make sure that these are singular. All right, so the blog post title, the blog post body, the blog post username, the blog post date posted, to string. All right. Also, when you look, go up a little higher, please, on here. See right on the header line where it's got the URL right there? That should be a slash. It still works, but you should put a slash in there anyway. And there'll be another one you're going to change in just a moment. All right, and then again, finally down at the bottom where we've got this for the post content, it changes to just that. So I'll leave that there in case you didn't change it yesterday. All right, but that's all you need for the body, the post content. And again, when you look at that, you'll notice we cut the size down by removing the stuff that was in here quite a bit. We probably halved it as far as its size. Right.
So after the percentage signs, the 4 blog posts.
Oh, in fact, that should be an equal to, I believe. There.
Okay, so they're equal signs on every single
Yes.
one.
And again, let's do this. It is ejs.co. So if you go out here, they explain in some depth and breadth of coverage how to set this up, what all the stuff in here means, etc., how to use this. So notice here with the equal sign, outputs the value into a template, and it escapes the HTML. Well, we've got that inside of HTML, and that's why we're doing it like that. So again, if you go out to ejs.co and you need a better explanation than you think of what I just gave you, or you want to get some additional stuff, you can go out there to find it. All right, does everybody have that? All right, so then next, let's go to the, I believe it's index.ejs, let's find out. And again, so I'm on index.now.ejs, and here in line 9 it is for me, right under the page header where you've got your header, again, make that a slash at the beginning. All right, and then you can start going down. Let me move that. There we go. So again, these are pluralized. So this is blog posts, and in each time, since we are inside of a loop, we've got to say blog posts. I think yesterday when I did this, I didn't have the percent sign and the equals in here, and that's why it was resonating a little funky on here. But these should all be correct. Now, is it possible you'll make these changes and you'll still have problems? Sure, it is. And if it is, then I'll try to work with you one-on-one if we have to make sure that they work for everybody. And again, when I did it yesterday, you probably didn't do this, but when I did it, up here, for some reason, I had left the ending bracket in there. If you have that, please remove it. All right? That ending bracket belongs down here. So this basically, we have to put this one like this because we're writing JavaScript. And here we're ending our JavaScript. But inside of here where we're printing out the individual components, we are also rendering JavaScript. There, there, and there. Does that make sense to everybody? All right. And there was one more thing that we had to change. And this goes back to what Gabriel was talking about yesterday. And I don't remember what file, unfortunately, it's in, but it's the one that actually has the button in it. Because on here, all right, and we can look for it, or you can find it yourselves. It doesn't really matter. I'll tell you what. I got to close a couple of things here. So yeah, I can close that, and that's good. All right. So with what we worked on yesterday, when you go out, so if I come in here to home, for example, all right, there's nothing in there. But if I go out to new post, I'm just going to make one right now. So create new post. This button is not operational on yours. All right, that could be I don't remember if it's under newpost.ejs or what it's under, okay? But, so notice if I come in here now and I type in this, how about this? New post 10/13/2021. So you can see that I'm putting that in. All right, and then for the body, new post body, okay, and again, once that button becomes operational and you click, you go back, and now notice at the very bottom, there it is. And then you click here, and it just brings that one up. All right? I don't know why it's bringing it up there, but it is. Okay, so if I go back here and I click, try it again, come on, there you go, on one of these, something looks funky there. It wasn't coming up like that before. It should be coming up just with this. I don't know why it's showing that picture, but it is. I'll look at it. The point is, you should be able now to put a new post in, and it should show right away. All right? I'll now take a look at that in just a bit. All right. So we're going to go onward and upward from right now. Now, in order to do what we're going to do next, okay, what I'm going to ask that you all do, I don't care what it is, as long as it's not in bad taste, but why don't you all go out to images.google.com and find an image of something. I wouldn't make it humongous, all right, so I'll just put in here dog. It doesn't matter what it is. So I've got this thing of a dog. My sister just got herself a brand new golden retriever puppy. So I'm going to just grab this one right here, okay, in honor of that. So I'm going to right mouse click on it. I see it's 1200 by 602. That's a lot bigger than I want. But I'm just going to save the image, and I'm going to save it right to the desktop. All right. And it's called dog puppy. I'm just going to make it dog.jpg. All right. So there's that. Now I've got this. Just to prove it to you, show it to you, etc. There it is, dog.jpg. It's a lot bigger than I want it to be, so I'm going to manually go in. I've shown you how to do this before. And I'm going to cut down the size, so I'm going to resize this. And I'll make it, I don't know, how about 400? That's better. All right, so I just made it that size. What the picture you choose, the size you make it, I don't care. That's totally up to you. But I'm going to save this right now. So I've got that in there. Why? Because sometimes you want to put a picture in with the post that you're creating. All right, we can set it up so if we set it up so that the image is a required field, you can make them put a picture in. But if you're going to do something like that, then probably what you'd want to do is you may even want to create a blank picture, so if they don't want to add anything, they'd have something that they could add. All right, again, it's totally up to you the way that you do that. So before we get into that, because that's what we're going to do right now, but before we actually get in and start doing that, I'm going to go out to npmjs.com. You do not have to do this, but I just want to show you this, okay? And I'm going to type in here express-file upload. All right, so notice express-file upload, simple express file upload middleware that wraps around Busboy. I don't know what Busboy is. I never looked it up. But the point is this. We're going to put this line in right now. In other words, if your program's running, stop the run and put in this. npm space I space express dash file upload. Now, when we get all done, let's just say Aaron here decides I don't give a darn about images. I don't want that in there. I would recommend leaving it in but commenting all the code out. See what I'm saying? All right. But if you say I really don't want it, then just remove it. But I wanted to show you how to do it. All right. So I'm going to grab that line myself and copy it to the clipboard. And then come in here. I'm going to stop the running program. And I'm going to paste that in. So npm express file upload. Again, we can go back. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to trust that it worked. Otherwise, you can always go back and look in your package.json file to be sure. But you know as well as I do that doing that will also necessitate us going in here and going into our server.js file. And you can see this is getting pretty big. All right. But we're now going to put in my new line 6, const, and I'll just call it file upload. You don't have to put the word express on there. These are just names that we're making up anyway. Equal require express dash file upload. All right. So I just put in this brand new line 6. Any questions about what we just did? Does what we just did make sense? We're going to have to add a bunch of code in here in order to actually get this image in. But we're just putting in right now what we need in order to actually make the image. All right? Questions? Everybody's got that? All right. We can do it later, but let's just do it right now because we got to do an app.use and we have to tell it that we want it to use. Where is that line of code? App.use. Just file upload. But it is a method, so we've got to do it like this. So we just added this line. So I added line 6, and this line right here. All right? And you can see that it was gray. Oh my goodness. It was gray before. I don't know. I'm so tired of playing on this thing to try to make the resolution better. I think that's better, isn't it? All right. So everybody has both those lines, correct? All right, let's do a file save on here. And I don't think I'm going to need server.js for a while. All right, I won't need post.ejs or index.ejs for a while. But what we want to do is we want to add something to create. Right now, if you remember, what we have in the create is we've got the name or the title, and we got the body, right? It's for our new post. And that's all. This. All right. And that's all right here. Okay? Now, I'm going to grab this one, because what we're about to put in is a file upload control. We're not going to be putting in a text area. That's why I'm not copying this one. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm going to grab this code that you see right here. Again, I'm in create.ejs. I'm in my form, and I'm going to copy these lines 37 through 41, these 5 or 6 lines here. All right, I'm just going to copy them to the clipboard, and I'm going to paste them right underneath. So in other words, if I ran this right now, I'm not going to, but I now have something that says title, body, title. Does that make sense? But we're going to make changes to it right now. Well, the first thing we'll change is we'll change this to image, because that's what it's going to be, is an image. So this will make image also. All right. Let me move these over so you can see exactly what I'm doing here. There we go. All right. And we have to start making the appropriate changes, so the ID will become image. The name will become image. The type is actually type file because it's a file upload. We are uploading a file. All right. We don't need, you can say enter your image, but we don't really even need a placeholder. So I'm going to get rid of the placeholder. All right. And yeah, I guess it will be required. All right. So we've got that. Then going down to this line here where it says title required, we want that to be image required. And instead of saying a title is required, we'll say an image is required. All right. So I'm going to save that right now. And we're going to make some more changes in just a second. All right. Just making those changes right there and not making any other changes. I'm not sure if this is, I haven't tried it like this, but I'm not sure if this is going to work or not, but I wanted to just see something here, and that is, I'm going to go back to here, refresh, and go back to new post. I might get an error. Okay, oh, that's interesting. Okay, we'll have to fix that. All right, but let's go to our, I guess we have to reopen our server.js because we don't have, it's not a route, but we've got to change our route that is looking for this right now, for lack of better words. All right? So we went in and we added our const file upload equal require express. So we put that in. Open that back up again. So we put in this. We added it down here as part of our middleware. So we've got that. All right? And what we want to change is the route where we're storing right here. All right? And it's funky what we're about to do. So let me first go back. If I left it open, I don't know if I was probably not that smart. But if you look in here, what we want to do is two things. We want to bring the image in. Then we want to take the image and we physically want to move it so it is in that public images folder, so it's with our images. So if we do happen to download it from someplace else, that's where we want it to go. Well, if you look through the stuff that's in here, you have to look quite a bit, but there is a thing in here that's called move, MV. And as it says, it's a function that you can use to move a file somewhere else on your server. That's exactly what we want to do. So we're going to have to put in some code in order to be able to do that. It's not a lot, it's just a line or two of code. So, all right. So jumping back then into the server file that's right here, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say let image equal req.files.image. That will literally be our image, okay? All right, and then, oh, not a dash, I'm sorry, that's an equal sign. So why we got the error? All right, and then we want to say image.mv, so this is move, path, let me move that up a little bit so you can all see it. Let me put it in and we'll go over what everything in there means. Now, this stuff, when we're physically moving it like this, all right, it can possibly have an error. Could you see where that would be erroneous? If I put the wrong path in here or something else, there could literally be some kind of an error in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our async that's right here, and I'm going to remove that. We're moving it, for lack of better words. We don't need that console log requires body there that we put in before. But I'm going to say here async error. All right. Okay. And then all of this. That should be everything that we need in there. Now, what worries me is when I just ran that a couple minutes ago, it was giving me an error, but I think it's because I hadn't restarted the server. So I'm going to restart the server before I do anything. I'm going to leave that up there for a second, so if you have to go through that. So what are we doing? We're saying this right there is going to be whatever image file we choose. All right? And then we're telling it that we want it to move that image file from where it currently is. We want it to move it to our public images folder. All right? And we want to use the name of the image that we just had there. It could fail. All right? So here, we're just going to basically, if it does fail, we're going to do a redirect. All right? And, just redirect you right basically back to the home page where you could essentially try it again. All right. So, yeah, I didn't restart the server, and that's why I was getting all sorts of errors when I tried to run it. So let me restart the server. Oh, it doesn't like something. It says it doesn't like where I put the await. All right. And that's in line 61, so it looks like it's something different. So right here, there's an async. Oh. I don't know why I've got that there. All right. So let's look. This curly brace here should be ending right here. That parenthesis right here should be ending right there. So so we've got a paren, 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 paren. That looks good. Put a semicolon there. It doesn't hurt one way or the other. Async. Well, that's what I've done before, and it worked just fine. Ah, there it is. All right. Now, sorry, just cleaning this up. So app.post.
I think you need that parenthesis there.
No, I will, but it's got to be moved.
Oh.
All right, so app.post, post.store, require, request response, good, let image equal that, good, move, solve, image.name, that's good, comma, async, paren, paren, error, there, await blog post, create body, create, body, I don't want the word person in there, I want a paren there. And a curly there, good. Res done, redirect, paren. Okay, now I gotta figure out what I did wrong in here. So, we'll get it in just a second. Response. Create, body. Don't need anything there. And just bear with me a second, because we're going to get it. All right. Now, could it still be wrong? Of course. All right, let's look though. Let's see if I'm still getting any errors or if now it reloaded. Crashed, unexpected token. Let's run through this. So that goes to there, that end starts. Okay, you don't like that. I thought you would. Pass resolved. Name, comma, basic error. Curly, void, dot create, dot body. All right, that was it. So let me run it first. Make sure it now is working the way that it should be working. Okay. All right, come back in here. Okay, there's my create new post. And you'll notice there's a choose file now. Okay, so I'm going to say my new dog. Here is a picture of my new dog. Choose file. There's dog.jpg. Open. Send. All right, cannot read property image of undefined. Okay, on line 58. So it's that is a correct line. Res.files.image. All I can think of is, well, one thing that we are going to have to do, so we might as well just go in and do it now. I'm going a little bit out of order here. All right, and that is, if we come into here and we go into our models and we look at our blog post, okay? We've got, so this is our post, we got a title, we got a body, we're gonna have to put an image in there. Does that make sense to everybody? So you put an image in there and it'll just be a string, all right? Could there still be other problems? Yeah. I should have done a better job of going over this again this morning and I didn't. You are right there. There's got to be a comma. That's otherwise you're going to get an error, not a period. Hey, comma. All right. So let me do a file save here. All right. And that should get into the database. Now that said, it says that it's running, but it was giving us an error. We'll have to see if we can fix the error. All right. Looks like it's still going to give that same error, so let's see. Yep. So I'm going to have to try to dig through that during the break. That's not a problem. Okay? All right. I am going on. Even though we've got an error, it'll all work out in the end. You'll have to take my word for it, but it'll all work out in the end. All right. One more thing that we should add where we just were, meaning in our server.js file right here. Okay, before we do the res.redirect, so we've got the let image equal req.files.image. That should be correct. We've got the image.move, path resolve rather, so we're telling it to put it into our public images folder. All right, we're doing the async on error and we're doing an await. Then we're telling it to do a blog post.create with that. All right. Now, this is going to look weird, but let me put it in. Okay. Let me put the whole thing in here. And then when we're done, we'll go over what all of it means. All right. So. And don't even worry about typing this yet. I want to go over it first. What I want to do is I want to make sure this thing works. And like I said, it's goofy looking syntax. Then this will end up being removed and put out here. Now, you can already see there's errors, so I want to start digging through them. First of all, this. What the hell is that? ... request body. What that says is we want to add image, but rather than having to list all the other fields, we can just say this. So this means everything up to that point. Then we're going to add to it our image. Looks a little weird, all right, but that's the actual syntax for it. All right. So we can dig the rest of this out of here. Request.body. And I'll tell you what, let's just do this because for whatever reason, I don't have my stuff together right now. So let's take this, everything that we had done in here, all right, and I'm going to grab this.
You're still stuck on that?
Yeah. I just want to make sure I give it to you right, that's all. And it wasn't right the way it was.
I think you just were missing a curly brace.
It was more than that.
It was more than that?
Yeah. Yeah. There were a few things that were wrong in there. All right, so. All right, so the way that this did look in our server.js file was like, where is it? Post new. That's all we had in there. Okay? Just change it back to that. Or comment out all the stuff you have and just have that. That's the one we're working in, right? Or we're working in post store, aren't we? Regardless, the one that we're working in right now, change it back so if it was post new, it looks like this, and post store looks like this. And don't worry, we're going to get it to work. If not by the end of this period, by the beginning of next period. I'll go back, I've got the master, and I'll just go over the master again. Okay? So let me save this. And let me just check real quick to make sure I didn't break anything. All right, it still got this. I'm not even sure why, because I thought I removed it, but that still is okay. All right. All right. Nothing's broke now. That's good news. All right, so I'm going to come in here just very quickly, see if I can add a new post, because I want to make sure I didn't break anything that was in here. Hello there. Send. There's hello there, and it brings it up there. Good. All right. I'm just going to jump ahead. All right. The next thing I want us to do, and I told you that you could do this yesterday. You may have done it yesterday. You may not have done it yesterday. I don't know. But one of the things I said yesterday that you could do was to add a new folder called Middleware. All right? So if you did not do that yesterday and you want that right under blog, then do that right now, please. Now, we've talked about this before. All right? And middleware is stuff that's designed to run in the middle. All right? I know, and I'm not trying to sound silly here, but the point is, it allows your program to communicate with the packages, with you, etc. It allows you to do different things. It's a communicative mechanism, for lack of better words. All right? So, let's go in and write a little bit of it. All right? Now, you can write your own custom middleware. We could put it in server.js. We could do that if we wanted to. All right? The problem is, again, the idea is we want to cut down the size of server.js. We don't want to expand the size of server.js. That's why we're creating this new middleware right here. All right? And I'm going to come in here, and inside of middleware, I'm going to create a new file. And I'm just going to call it validation middleware.js. All right? Validation middleware.js. Make sure you put it inside of the middleware. All right? Now, I've got some code in here that was supposed to handle what we just did and didn't work, so I'm going to rip that code out. What I'm telling you is we're going to put this in right now, but we'll probably have to make an adjustment to it later. All right? All right, so what code do we want to put in? Real simple. What we want to do is we're going to come in here, we're going to say if req.body.title equal null, or, make it a little prettier, there we go, or req.body.body equal null, all right, so if that's the case, we're going to say return res.redirect /post/new. Now I'll give you a second to put that in, and then we'll go over everything that means. That's the whole thing. If you remember, when we went into under our models folder, when we looked at the blog post, we've got a title and we've got a body, and neither one of those are required. All right, maybe we should make them both required, but what this is saying, what we just put in here, and what it's saying is, hey, if we attempt to post this and the request has nothing in the body and it has nothing in the title, so nothing in the body or nothing in the title, if they're both null, meaning there's been nothing put in there, just redirect them back to the new post page. Does that make sense? In other words, we're requiring that you put something in there. That's what I'm saying. Okay? All right. Now, to do this, the server.js has no idea this even exists. All right, this is kind of right now into an island of itself, so to speak. So I'm just going to do a file save here, and then I'm going to go back into my, move this over a little again.
Sorry, I want some clarification before we go.
Go ahead.
So request.body, what's at the body, and what's it looking? Is it looking for like a name tag?
It's looking for the presence of anything.
Okay.
If nothing's been set, it's null. So it could be that you put your name in there, but then, no, I don't want that. So you forgot to put in a title. You put it in, you didn't like the title, so you removed it. So there's nothing in there at all. Make sense?
How does it know it's looking for a title or a body? How are we telling it?
It's
that, hey,
because this is the one field that's in. It's confusing because that looks a little confusing. The request.body is holding everything. That's what we're going to parse. So it's everything that's in the form.
Yeah.
And then we're telling it, because we use the form parser, to grab just the title and make sure there's something in there. And then grab just the body section and make sure there's something in there. And if either one or both of those have nothing in there, don't allow that to go through. Just redirect us back, because we must have forgotten to put in something.
What I'm asking is, how does it know what exactly is the title and where is the body?
The way that it knows that is that in here, if I go into new post, that's the title and that's the body. So right now there's nothing in those. All right? You already saw, I showed you that before, that if I put in hello there, for example, it got posted. All right? Now, so hopefully I'm answering your question. If I'm not, then I must, what you're asking, I must not be hearing.
Is it looking for, in our HTML, the ID equals title, or?
No, it's literally, when you type in something.
Or it's looking for the text title.
Yes. No. When you type something in here, whatever it is you type in, that becomes request.body.title. Whatever you put in here, that becomes request.body.body. Collectively, they're request.body. But we're breaking them up into their individual components, and we're saying if either you don't put something in there or you don't put something in there, don't accept it. Am I answering your question?
Sure. Good.
Well, so what I'm saying is the request, the title is the text that you put in here.
I understand that, yeah.
And the body is the text you put in
I
there.
understand that.
Okay.
It's just, I really don't mean.
Go back to the blog post schema.
Well, it's because, if we change the name of title to, let's say, whatchamacallit, it would still know that's the title.
No, this is just some extra code we put in. We don't even need this word title or this word body. We don't need those. What it's looking at is not this. It's going into the field and it's seeing are there any characters in there, or are there not any characters in there. So it's looking actually in here where I am right now. It's not looking at the word title, and in here it's not looking at the word body. It's looking for the presence or absence of something in that field. That's the request that we're making.
So it knows that the title comes first and then the body.
It doesn't care. I mean, we could have put it in the other. We could have made the check in the other direction. It doesn't matter. But we're telling it to check both of them. And if we did not enter a value ourselves in one of them, don't accept it. just redirect us back to that page, because evidently what we did wasn't complete. Again, I'm not sure if I'm answering the question you're asking, so.
It's all right.
All right, well, then hopefully as we go on, maybe at least it'll make a little bit of sense. I don't know. All right. Now, we could come in, just so you know, don't type this in because I want to show you, because this is a little bit different. In our app.use, we just added middleware. Don't put this in because it's wrong. All right, well, it's incomplete, let's put it that way. But we could come in, not there. Down here where we're adding our middleware, we could come in here and add it right there. So we could say app.use and use. All right, and we got to give it a path, so it'd be dot slash. How is it dot? How about, it should be dot slash. It's not finding it though. Huh. Well, we could say dot slash middleware. All right, slash, and then we could put in the name of it. All right, literally put in the whole name. So we could put in here validation middleware. I think that's what we called it. Middleware. We could put that in like that. And then it's available throughout the entire program. And that's totally fine to do that. But not everybody needs that. It's only needed by when we are trying to go in and store a post. All right? So what we can say for this is we can just tell it where we want it to basically be applied. Now I'm going to look in here. I don't think it's that smart. Let's see. We're going to try it like that. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say this. I'm going to say in slash posts slash store, put in our validation middleware. Okay? So what that is saying is we only want to make it, all right, we only want to make it available to slash post slash store. All right? So if we leave that out and just put in validation middleware, it makes it available program-wide. Now, if we needed it program-wide, we could. We could do that. But the idea is you should really only make any middleware you're creating available to who and what needs it. All right? Now, with all the luck I'm having so far, I'm going to break something, but I hope I didn't. That doesn't look good. It says their validation middleware is not defined. That's why I thought I had to give it a path. Slash. Let's see if it likes that. Again, don't be so trusting of me, please. So. Okay, now what doesn't it like here? Oh, goodness. Router.use requires a middleware function, but it got a get type function. There requires a middleware function. Got a string. Let's see. That's correct. Well, I already did that. Slash store. If I don't put the path in there, it's not finding it. Like that. It's not finding it there. So It's early. Let's take our first break. I want to see if I want to fix this because I don't want us to go on with errors in here. So, all right. All right. I would appreciate it if you would just pretend the last few minutes just never existed. Okay? Because it works. And the problem is, when I turned the page, I went to the wrong page. That's no excuse. That's the truth. It was stupid, but let's talk about what we should have done, and I'll have you do the same, okay? All right, and Christopher, I think you'd made a comment, and if what I think you were saying was correct, then you were right. But this is what our validation middleware function should look like. Now, before you even type it, let's just talk about this, because this is different syntax. If you remember, when we went in here, and we looked under models, all right, we wrote this blog post. Remember on the bottom we did this? You've got your choice when you export. You can export at the bottom. You can export at the top. Typically, if you add just one routine, not a schema like this, but just one routine, you say module.exports and you put in the routine. All right? And if you say, I don't get it, we're going to be doing it some more in just a bit. So if you look in here, I immediately said module.exports because now I don't have to give this a name. So it's module.exports. It needs the require, it needs the response, it needs the next. Now, the reason I told you not to type in anything yet is this isn't complete the way it is. This, you've never seen this before, unless we have talked about it, and I don't remember if we have or not. When you create your own middleware and you run the program, it'll hang until you put in this line of code. Like that. So when you write your own middleware, you need to put in the word next. And what next does is when you run next, you say, I'm done. Go on to whatever is next in the chain, so to speak. So we've got in here, we needed the require and the response. That was one of the problems. I wasn't passing that in. But if the title has nothing in it or the body has nothing in it, we're just going to redirect them back so they're on the page they were on. Then we're going to call next so we can continue on. So this should be correct now, the way that it is. And then we'll take a quick look at what should be then, don't know what that's doing, on what we should be putting into server.js. And I still want to make sure, because I mean, if you still have a question, Gabriel, I would like to try to answer it.
No, I emailed you a picture.
Okay.
That might give you more
Okay.
sense of what my
All right.
question is.
Then when we take our next break, I promise you all will take a look at it. But again, what I want you all to understand on this is what we're saying in here is we want to be able to grab our request object. Every time you grab the request object, you must grab the response object too. They come in a pair. You can't just, even if you're not doing anything with the response, and we are here. This is one time we're doing the REQ and the RES. Does that make sense to everybody? So we're saying if what came in had nothing in the title or it had nothing in the body or both, then our response is to redirect you back to the page you were currently at. And since it's our own middleware, we need to put a next in there, and we need to call next to signify that we're done. Because if you don't do that, literally, it hangs. All right? Everybody have a chance to put that in? All right. So let's go back to server.js. Before you start typing, a couple things, okay? And like I said, Christopher, this is what you were saying, yeah. This is, I was putting the path in the wrong place. So this, we're creating a new constant called validation middleware, and we got to give it the path. So it's our current path /middleware /validation middleware. Then when we do the app use, we don't put a path in there, we just put validation middleware. So the new lines you should add are line 10 and line 17. Again, I'm expecting that you called everything what I called it. If you called it something different, of course, you'd have to change that. Oh, and just so you all know too, just for a second here, in fact, I'm going to, give me a second here. I'm going to just stop.